Today I'm going to make a tanged arrowhead. So this is different to a socket one. A socket one goes around the edge of the shaft, whereas the tang one goes actually in the middle, a bit like a knife. So it's a bit like a handle of a knife but on the end of an arrow. This style was typically used by the Vikings, I believe. So they sort of, they forged the tang and then they had a leaf, sort of spade shape head on them. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so I've just got a little piece of 10mm in the fire. I think I've got to start by forging the tang itself. I've never made one of these styles of arrowheads before, but we'll see how it goes. I think, yeah, forge the tang first, because then I can upset that to get a nice square shoulder, and then I'll forge the head of the arrow. I just use this tool here to create this upset, to give it a nice square shoulder. So that's where, all this tang will be in the shaft, and then that's where the meeting point is between the head and the shaft. So now what I'm going to do is just forge a bit of sort of almost a reverse taper before I then flatten a section for the head of the arrow. I've taken a grinder to this to refine that point a little bit more, and also I've ground a couple of bevels on it, but really this should be made of a high carbon steel because, you know, these are actually cutting edges. But this is just mild. It was just sort of a proof of concept. I've never made one before, but I think it's alright. I always thought that tanged arrowheads were sort of a weaker option than socketed ones. As socketed ones, you know, they'll go over the shaft, and so when that's hitting something, say something that it shouldn't hit like a rock, the shaft I've always thought is less likely to break. I don't know if that's right. I always thought that, you know, if it's got this and then it hits something, I always thought that the tang would just split the shaft, whereas a socket is over the outside and so it's less likely to. I don't know. And that's why I've sort of never really made one of these. But as I said, the Vikings were typically the ones who used these, I think it was. So that's sort of, I don't know, 800 to 1000 AD-ish. So they're quite old, quite an old design, older than the socketed ones, or at least the socketed armour-piercing ones that I have made before, which were sort of replicas of the ones found on the Mary Rose, so that's another couple of 100 years after these. But anyway, it's an interesting thing to do, you know, to see how, again, smiths from another time, another place, made simple things and how they all differed in how they made these things. So thank you for watching the video, and I hope that I'll see you soon.